Miss, can you repeat the question?
Okay, today is our second session in the physical geography of South Asia. Who can define a subcontinent? The definition of a subcontinent, Kenzie Tahal.
Is a large land masses part of continents.
Yes, a large mass of land, which is a part, whether it's a politically or a unique part of a continent. Who can tell me what are the countries of South Asia? Then mention the two islands of South Asia. Fadia?
Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Maldives, and Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much. Okay, see, so Fadia mentioned the countries and also the two islands, which are Sri Lanka and Maldives. Then we moved to the physical or the landforms of South Asia. We had like 3 mountain ranges and 3 rivers. Who can mention the 3 mountain ranges? Hannah Hamdi?
The Hindu Kush, the Karakoram, and the Himalaya.
Okay, and what about the rivers? Let me ask Yusuf. Yusuf, tell me about the names of the rivers and where exactly each river flew.
Indus River flows southward through Pakistan to the Arabian Sea. Brahmaputra flows southward to the Bay of Bengal.
Okay. Then we moved to the geography. We have divided the geography of South Asia into 2 parts, the geography of the north and the geography of the center and the south. About the geography of the north, Noor al-Mahi, can you elaborate about it? What do you have in the north?
Alluvial plain caused by floods. It's an area of fertile soil.
Okay.
Deltas are places where river deposits soil at the river's mouth.
Thank you very much. Okay, what about the geography of the central and the north? Hala Tariq? Hala Tariq? Hala, you're here? Hala الحلو? هنا الحلو. Okay, Lujaina Ayman.
Miss, can you repeat the question?
I will repeat the question, but what about the rest? Who hasn't responded? They're not here in the session? Okay,
No, I don't
Lujaina.
know, sir.
They are, but they maybe have a problem with their internet connection.
We'll see now. I'm talking about the geography of the center and the south. What do we have in the center and what do we have in the south?
Okay. Central. Okay. ماشي. The mountains and okay. They separate India physically and culturally into northern and southern parts. Much of the southern India is a high flat Deccan plateau. والهوا there are 2 low mountain ranges. يعني should I say it?
Yes.
Eastern Chats and Western.
And also we have a very important plateau, what's its name?
Deccan Plateau.
The Deccan Plateau. Thank you, Aruji. Let's move to the southern islands. Let's move to the southern islands. Adam Guayet, tell me about the
Miss, can you add Hannah?
I will add her.
Yes,
what about the
Miss.
southern islands?
The 2 islands, Sri Lanka and Maldives.
Where are they exactly?
Sri Lanka lies off the southeastern tip of India.
Yes.
Maldives lies in the southwest of India's tip.
Thank you very much, Adam. Let's move on to our lesson today, which is about the climate. How does climate affect people's life in South Asia? Okay, who can elaborate about the climate? Who can tell me what about the climate in South Asia? Judy?
It has a tropical climate. Not much of the northern half enjoys a warm, temperate climate. There are cool not Allah. There are cool highlands in the north and the scorching deserts to the west.
So this is about the tropical climate. If we're talking about the northern half of the northern half of the region, it enjoys warm, temperate climate. Also, we have cool highlands in the north and scorching deserts to the west. So much of the region's climate and result is seasonal wind pattern called monsoons. What's meant by monsoons? Who can tell me what's meant by monsoons? Monsoons. Reem Huda?
A seasonal wind patterns that bring heavy rain for several months of the year.
Sorry? Have what?
A seasonal wind patterns that bring heavy rains for several months in the year of the year.
Yes. So in several months of the year, we are having heavy rains. Wind carry moist, hot air inland, causing heavy rain, and also it causes floods, which is very important for supporting the population's farming. So it's very important to farming the monsoon climate. So we said that in the half southern we have tropical climate. We also have the monsoon. Then we have little or no rain for 8 months of the year. We have little or no rain for 8 months of the year in May and early June. Temperatures طبعا soar, causing the wind directions to change, which causes wind to form the Indian Ocean, bring heavy rains and flooding. And without the monsoon, the region couldn't grow enough food for its people. But although floods has pros and cons, who can tell me about the good or the good effects and the bad effects of monsoons? Who can tell me about the good effects and the bad effects of a monsoon? Hannah Hamzi?
I have a question, but
Yes.
is the Thailand a part of the South Asia?
Sorry?
Thailand.
No, Thailand is not part of South Asia.
Oh, okay.
Tell me, Hannah.
Sally.
Sally?
Yes,
Miss
Hannah, we can hear you.
Sally.
Yes.
Sally.
Hannah? Yes.
Miss.
Yes, Hannah.
Most of the region has little or no. Miss, how do I continue?
Yes, continue.
Most of the region has little or no rainfall for 8 months of the year. Then, beginning in May and early June, temperatures began to rise sharply. Heated air causes a change in wind direction. Winds from the Indian Ocean carry moisture inland, bringing heavy rains and flooding. Most areas along the coast get at least 90 inches of rain per year. Millions of family farms depend on rain for survival. The annual monsoon rains support South Asia's large population. Without the rains, the region could not grow enough food for its people. The floods come at a cost, though they damage property and can cause loss of life. Other natural hazards include tropical cyclones.
Enough, Hannah. I'm not talking about the cyclones now. All I'm talking about is only the monsoons. So we said that the monsoons bring good effects and bad effects at the same time. Although they bring floods, which can damage all people's houses and properties, but at the same time, floods also support populations farming. These heavy rain, which are the monsoon, supports the population's farming. So here, all I'm asking about, what are the good effects and the bad effect of the monsoons? So again, who can tell me what are the good effects and the bad effects of the monsoons? Maya?
The good effect that it supports life in South Asia. Without the rains, the region could not grow enough food for its people, but they damage property and cause loss of life.
Yes. So as we've mentioned, we can divide our climate into main parts. The first part is the tropical climate, which already Judy has explained. Then we move to the monsoons, which has been explained by Hannah. Then we're going to move to the cyclones. Who can tell me about what's meant by the cyclones? Hmm. Let's move to Noor El-Mahi.
Me?
Yes, what's meant by cyclone?
It's a tropical large swirling storms.
Mhm.
The, oh, uh, tropical large swirling storm slams the Bay of Bengal and floods. Nice.
And it also floods most of the lowlands and the deltas. Again, Ali Hisham, can you repeat the meaning of a cyclone?
It's a storm with high winds and heavy rains.
Yes. Actually, it's a spinning storm that contains strong wind and rain. Thank you, Ali, very much. So cyclones is part of our climate today. It's a powerful spinning storm, as you can see here in the picture. It's a powerful spinning storm that contains strong wind and rain at the same time. Cyclones in our climate, tropical large swirling storms slams the Bay of Bengal, and it floods actually most of the lowlands and the deltas. Also, at the same time, we have floods which are damaging our properties, but it gives us one benefit, which is having the good land for farming. The last part, or now we have also the climate zones here. As you can see, who can tell me or elaborate about the climate zones? The climate or the tropical or the wet dry climate? Yes. Hannah, please mute. Okay, Judy?
Okay. The tropical, which is wet and dry, in south and west.
What does it mean? Wait here, Judy. What does it mean to be wet and dry climate?
Wet and يعني to be كده wet and dry. لا يعني كده I don't know
By wet and
يعني
dry climate, because we've already studied before. Who can tell me what's meant by wet and dry climate?
warm يعني مش warm.
It have like seasonals.
يعني in the summer it rains.
It has seasons for rain and it has other seasons to be dry, wherever, whether it's summer or winter. So wet and dry means like our climate. Sometimes we have rain and sometimes it's dry and it's warm and normal weather or a normal climate. Also, we have the semi-arid, which is the mountain shadow of Gast. What's meant by semi-arid? Anyone still remembers from Africa? What's meant by semi-arid? Erin Buddha?
No, I don't know.
If it's on the shade of a mountain, what does it mean?
Cold. Rain shadow?
Yes, it reflects the rain shadow effect. It brings, although it's very hot, it brings it brings some wind because it's not facing the ocean. Also dry.
And it rains.
It doesn't
it
rain.
rains and it's not facing the ocean.
It's dry and it's having slightly more rain.
Yes.
It's having slight rain.
Yes, it's dry, but sometimes it has a slight rain because it's facing the ocean. It brings cool wind from the ocean. About the dry northwest on the borders between India and Pakistan, we have the Thar Desert. So here we have different climate zones. This is the map of the climate zones and the climate and vegetation of South Asia. As you can see, it is divided among the three types of climate: the tropical, the semi-arid, and the dry. The tropical climate is coming from south and west, the semi-arid, which has the mountain shadow of the Gast, and the dry is the northwest on the borders between India and Pakistan, which has the Thar Desert. Okay, so this is basically all about the climate today. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll be covering the natural resources. So let's start from the beginning. Let me ask you questions. Who can describe first the climate in South Asia? Who can describe the climate in general in South Asia? Maya?
The climate in South Asia is so diverse. The region's climate is diverse too. Half of South Asia has a tropical climate
Yes.
with different kinds of plant life.
Thank you very
It
much.
also has monsoons.
Yes, continue, Maya.
It has monsoons, which are seasonal wind patterns. The monsoons have good effects and also bad effects. The good that they bring the region, the rain brings the region life support for farming. And the bad thing, it damage property and cause loss of life.
Thank you. Then we have moved to the cyclones, which slam the coast along the Bay of Bengal. Maya was explaining much of the northern half. Then we moved to the area which has the cyclones and which exactly slams the Bay of Bengal. Who can elaborate about cyclones? Fadia, can you tell us about the cyclones?
Yes.
Okay.
Large swelling storms
Yes.
often slam into the coast along the Bay of Bengal.
Yes, and does it have a good effect? Thank you, Fadia. Does cyclones have good effects or bad effects on people? Rashwan? Ahmed Rashwan.
Yes, can you repeat the question?
Again, cyclone. Fadia mentioned that they are powerful spinning storm that contains strong wind and at the same time rain. Does it have good effect or bad effect on people?
Bad effect.
Elaborate. How?
Because it's a powerful storm.
Yes, so what does it do?
It can damage them and harm them, yeah.
Yeah, it can damage through the rain or flooding, especially the vulnerable areas such as Delta. Okay, so the cyclones, as powerful storm and it has also strong wind and rain, it damages the area through flooding, especially the vulnerable parts, which are the deltas. Then we moved to the next part, which the wet and dry climate, as it is, which is the south of Asia. Who can describe the south of Asia climate? We have covered the north, then in the central. Who can tell me about the south? Kenzie Tahan.
The south has a tropical wet and dry climate. As the result is a monsoons wind pattern. There are just three seasons: hot, cool, and wet.
Yes, they can be found where? Where can you find the wet and dry climate? Thank you, Kenzie. Where can we find the wet and dry climate? Judy?
Musa, can you repeat the question?
Where can you find the wet and dry climate? Much of South Asia has the wet and dry climate. Where exactly in South Asia? Hannah
In
Hamzi?
India,
Musa, did you call on me or
Yes, yeah, Judy.
Let's do two answers.
You did?
Yes, I
So I
did.
didn't hear.
No problem. Do you know the answer?
Do I answer?
Hannah?
Miss, how I know the
Okay.
answer. Judy ولا؟
خلاص أنا هجاوب يا هنا أنا هجاوب.
Okay. Parts of the Deccan Plateau, for example, it gets little rain because the Western Ghats block the winds and rains of the wet season monsoons.
So it can be found, for example, you said the Deccan Plateau and also where? The coast of India, southern Sri Lanka, and the Ganges Delta in Bangladesh, because they have a very thick and green vegetation. We said that not all of South Asia is drenched by monsoons, but part of the Deccan Plateau get little rain because, as Hannah mentioned, Western Ghats block the winds and the rains of the monsoons. So in the south, it's the region's driest climate. In the northwest, especially we have there the Thar Desert, which lies between Pakistan and India. And of course, if we have a desert, vegetation will be mostly trees and dry grass. Also, the last part of the climate, which are the mountains to the north. Who can tell me how does the mountains to the north affect the climate? How do the mountains to the north
Of
affect
the
the
south
climate?
of Asia ولا
Who's
north
gonna answer?
Asia؟
1 minute,
Huh?
Fadia. I'm talking about the south of Asia. We have mountains to the north of the south of Asia. How does it affect the climate in the lower areas?
Okay.
Who's gonna answer?
Yes, go ahead.
In winters, the Himalaya block cold winds sweeping down from Central Asia and forms temperate zone across Nepal, Bhutan, and northern Bangladesh and and northeastern India.
Yes.
The farther south, the elevation of the Deccan Plateau creates another temperate climate area.
Yes, it's a little bit temperate climate area. So actually, this is all about the climate. We're going to compare in the climate between the cyclones, the monsoons, and the wet and dry climate. These are the three main regions or the three main types of climate there between the south, the north, and the central part. Okay, let's move to tomorrow, inshallah. We're going to be covering, these are the climate zones here, tropical climate, the semi-arid and the dry to the northwest. Tomorrow, inshallah, we're going to be covering the minerals and the energy. And also we'll be talking all about the natural resources, all the natural resources in South Asia. I want you to prepare the lesson ahead. Inshallah, you prepare the lesson. I want to tell you something else about the homework. Our homework will be uploaded, inshallah, on Wednesday to the assignments. Do not forget that we'll be having a deadline. You need to send the homework before on Saturday before 9 p.m. Then I will send you an email to confirm that I have received all of your homework. So you will receive a confirmation email. That's how you're going to know that I've received your homework. So don't worry. Okay. Anyone want to ask any question about today's lesson?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay. I'll see you next session, inshallah.